in Germany and other countries in Europe, would have stayed up until 9:30 in the morning to get
What do you
listen
mean?
to the words I say. Oh, baby,
Oh, the
baby.
baby, baby, I love you, baby, baby.
Oh God, I would murder someone.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode, which is about Abracadabra, the Grammys, and the FireAid benefit performance. My today's guest is Carl. I'm really happy to have you here. He's one of the administrators from the House of the Lulu server. We chatted with him last time. I'm glad you're here. Hi.
Yeah, thank you for having me back, on such short notice. You love
Yeah,
me. You
th-
really love me.
I
Oh,
do, and actually, the people on the World Wide Web also loved you and your insights.
it's crazy to think that people that I don't know my face and know my opinions. But I guess that's how
Yeah.
YouTube works, isn't it? Yeah. So
That's how YouTube works. Just to start with the podcast, what a week. We had like a week full of mayhem. But before we get into Abracadabra, I would quickly like to dive into like the latest news of Gaga. First Elle interview, Gaga says some interesting things about mayhem. As Gaga was asked how she would describe the LG7 era in 3 words, she said dark, poetry, and hard. She didn't adhere to any one genre, but the beats are really hard. We got our first new Mayhem lyrics also, which are her favorites from the album. Saw your face and mine in a picture by our bedside. It was cold in the summertime. We were just happy to be alive.
Well, I'm glad that the apparent through line of the album is hard beats. I mean, that's
Mm,
essentially what gets me, listening to music is a very good, strong beat. And
yeah.
so it doesn't really matter what the genre is, as long as I can, bop along to it. So if that's the
Mm.
common thread, everything, then I am here. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
It was just interesting that she said the word poetry. I kind of stumbled upon this word. There is a track that is called Blade of Grass, and there's actually a poem by Brian Patton. It's from 1946, and it's called A Blade of Grass. Because Gaga said poetry as one of these 3 words, I was thinking about maybe she's like referencing this poem. It's like about the misconception of what art or poetry is or can be. This could be like Patton's view on society, that she kind of deems something that is too simple as not as good enough for being appreciated as art. And I think it kind of resembles what Gaga might have gone through times of her career with art pop. This is maybe far-fetched and it has nothing to do with the track, but this could actually be like a inspiration behind the song.
I mean, I would not be surprised if she had, because she's very literate and has
Yeah,
a lot of
she is.
knowledge in the arts. But if it's a complete coincidence, then what a coincidence it would be to have this poem that you don't know about completely sum up your past 15 years of feeling about your art. But yeah, no, I would not be surprised if she had this poem in mind, now that you've brought it to my attention.
I also liked your theory in the last episode that you thought it's about little monsters that should touch some grass, so we will see.
Really? You start recording and the sun comes out? You start recording and the sun comes out?
When the sun
Sorry.
goes down.
YouTube will remember my face this way. So, there was a second video interview that came on January 29th. In this second video interview with Elle, Gaga says that the songwriting process for Mayhem was extremely organic. It was all about the songs, and she mentioned that she had written so many songs. What was also interesting to see her mention that the harder the music was, the more fragile the lyrics became. I pushed myself to be very articulate. You have to create wind when it's raining rocks. I would say it's the art of chaos. Also, in this interview, Gaga was asked about what fans can take away from Mayhem. And Gaga's response was, well, it explores who I am now. There were some moments making this record where I really surprised myself. So I guess we'll have to see if we can figure out where she surprised herself.
Most interesting part from this video for me was like when she said the harder the music was, the more fragile the lyrics became. And I was instantly thinking about, okay, now I understand disease, because especially in the verses, disease is really hard in the beat, but very personal and fragile in the meaning of the lyrics, and this kind of totally reflects the statement that Gaga just said. So additionally to the 2 video interviews with Elle, there is an article released on January 28th with the title "I Love Being Lady Gaga, How the Icon Conquered Her Demons." The interviewer, Lottie Jeffs, she describes Mayhem after hearing it as, and I quote, "The sound is hard to pin down." She describes one track as a happy apocalyptic tune and says her influences span 90s alternative meets electronic crunch mixed with industrial sounds. Prince and Bowie melodies, guitar and attitude, funky bass lines, French electronic dance, analog synths. She continues, saying later, "I have no doubt so many tracks on this album will be a hit." So just hearing that got me very, very excited.
There are at least going to be hits in this household. I don't know about your household, but there'll be hits in this.
Gaga says in the interview about Mayhem, "The record just feels good to me. It sounds good, it breaks a lot of rules and has a lot of fun." She later on confesses, while on other records, it felt more like her persona has written the songs. This time she recognizes that it came from her. She also mentions the Deceased music video, and she says, "It felt really fun and celebratory, like throwing a party for all your demons." The most interesting bit for me, actually, because I did this analysis of the music video of Deceased, she says the character of Mayhem drove the car in the Deceased video, and it is also the character who haunts this album. And we were all like thinking about, who is this creature that haunts Gaga? It seems like it's her trauma, or it seems like her inner demons. And now we have like a name that is confirmed, and we have like a storyline throughout this whole album. What are your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, there's a lot there, and it just, I don't really know if I have thoughts other than, just like, I mean, if we want to talk about the character of Mayhem, the idea of like this overarching villain, I suppose you could say, throughout the album, it makes me want music videos for everything, because that way we actually get to see, the character on screen, through all the songs and everything. But Gaga's never done like a full music video for every song on an album, right? She's not exactly Beyonce. So I'm not gonna, sit here and wait for that, but I'm just saying it would be very cool if that were to happen. I guess, when she talks about what she feels like the genres are and the Prince and Bowie melodies and funky bass lines, French electronic dance, analog synths, it's like she's speaking directly to my music taste.
Like for me, I don't know how to describe it other than say that I have the feeling that Mayhem is a homage to her and to her idols and the music that she as well appreciates. So it seems like this countdown we had from LG1 to LG6, it was just honoring what will happen on Mayhem.
So we did get a performance before, the big main course that we just had on Sunday, which was the FireAid performance. For those of you who have been somehow living under a rock, Los Angeles had been dealing with a number of wildfires for a couple of weeks. And so they came up with a kind of last-minute charity benefit concert. And Gaga was the very last performer at this benefit concert, and we weren't expecting a whole lot. She did Shallow. She did Always Remember Us This Way, although she tweaked the lyrics because Always Remember Us This Way has mentions to fire.
I'm glad that she did that, actually. Yeah.
But then she said that she was looking through her discography for a song that was like super appropriate for this occasion. And she didn't find one, so she wrote one. And so we got a new song just for FireAid called All I Need Is Time. Now, you're not going to find it on streaming services. You're not going to find it, wherever books and stuff are sold. It was literally just for this single live performance, and that's it.
I mean, first of all, I was shocked. Like, I can't remember an artist, like, announcing a song and saying, well, this is nothing for streaming, this is not a song to buy, this is just for this occasion. Yeah, to the song itself, it's a cute song. It has, for me, like, these Joanne vibes, like Come to Mama or Just Another Day. And I instantly thought of Stephanie, like the era before Gaga went famous. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I agree with you that it was giving kind of like the Joanne era vibes. It's not a song that I would put on my album, but then again, I'm not a songwriter, so I would not put any songs on my album. It's fine. Like the ending of the chorus, like it bothers me because there's like an extra syllable that shouldn't be there. And it's like you literally could have said like moving on. You didn't have to say
Moving
moving
on, yeah.
forward.
That was the
Like and
obvious.
keep moving forward. It's like oh Jesus, that sounds so bad.
And
But
it's not
mm,
a nice word either. Like forward. Like for me as a
mm,
German, it's really hard to pronounce.
yeah, yeah, mm.
Forward. I don't
Yeah,
know.
squirrel. Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Artistic choices.
Yeah,
Choices.
but choices. But apart from forward, what else do you think of the song?
Trying to tell Gaga had like just written it is as she was performing, she was like staring daggers at like the chords that she had written down to make sure
Yeah.
she could remember.
But
Mm,
I have to disagree with her that she's like going through her discography and is like, I have no song that could work. She has so many songs that would fit into this kind of benefit concert. It just sounded to me
mm,
like she's thinking that she doesn't have any uplifting songs, and I think she has a lot of
mm.
them. And I mean, other than that, Billie Eilish performed Birds of a Feather and Katy Perry performed Raw. They have lyrics in it that also talk about fire or death,
Yeah,
fire and death.
yeah. I mean, no, I mean, I'm glad she was a little more conscious of like what lyrics she wanted to perform. And I think when she said, like, I don't have any songs that fit, it wasn't her saying, I don't have any uplifting songs. It was like, I don't have any songs about like the magnitude of losing your house in a fire,
Hmm.
right? It's all just like, oh, you have depression right now and, you're getting bullied in school, but it'll be okay because you were born this way. Like, she has those songs, but she
Hmm.
doesn't have songs for like enormous kinds of like life-changing, natural disaster events. So I'm glad that she, like wrote something down quickly on a napkin and threw something together. But like I said, it would not go on my album.
No, no, and I will not see myself re listening to it very often, but it's a cute gesture. If you don't have anything to add, I would continue with the Grammys. So, first up, let's talk about the red carpet outfit. Everybody was talking about would she come in like Die with a Smile themed outfit or would she come into like this mayhem inspired outfit, and she really went like strong gothic with this gown. She rocked her black mayhem wig. Yeah, it was everything. She looked amazing.
Yeah, she definitely is playing the mayhem part now.
Totally.
Yeah.
The performance itself, it was a tribute with Bruno Mars singing a cover of California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas.
Mhm.
And she was wearing a white doll-like gown assembled by Valentino. And I thought it was a cute performance. I actually would have loved to Die with a Smile performance, but I
Mhm.
understand why she's not doing it. But just the impact
Mhm.
that the song to this day has, like, this was released in August of 2024, and it still will be one of the biggest songs till the summer of 2025. And I just think people were craving for a performance from them, but I can understand why they didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I understand why either. I mean, it was still like the fires are still very fresh in people's minds there
Mm,
in Los Angeles. A lot of people that were in attendance, may have lost their homes or knew people who had lost their homes. It still makes sense that you wouldn't want to sing a song about dying, at that
yeah.
kind of event. And I mean, California Dreaming, I know you're not American, so you might not know, but it's a very iconic song from the 1960s. It's one of the biggest songs from that decade in this
Hmm.
country. And it really just encapsulates like the dream of moving west and like the beginning of the 60s counterculture movement here in the United States. I mean, it was great to hear her perform it. I mean, I don't think a lot of us were expecting it. We were expecting, probably uh, some other song. I think there were rumors going around that it was going to be Earth Song by Michael Jackson or
Yeah.
something. When I was growing up, the records that we had playing in my house was like California Dreamin', right? So I immediately recognized the song and started to sing along and everything. And I think it was a very good choice of song for them to do. It's very fun to be able to hear their rendition. and the harmonies that she was pulling. I really enjoyed it.
The voices of them both go together so well. I love how they sound on Die With a Smile. I loved how they sounded on this one. And it just made me think about that I would be not mad if these two artists would like make a collaboration album. And I would be here for that.
Yeah, plus I think it would be easier for her and more enjoyable after this album cycle ends and she's thinking about starting a family and everything. Like, yeah, we'll throw together, 4 or 5 songs over the course of like a year or whatever, whenever you're free. And, we'll just have fun with it and it'll be good music and I'm working with people I like. Like, it sounds like, a very, it sounds like an idea that she might want to take up. But of course, I'm not her.
So, last but not least, let's talk about the nominations of Die With a Smile. So, it was nominated in the category Song of the Year and Best Pop Duo Group Performance. It did not win Song of the Year, not like Us from Kendrick Lamar did win this one, like Record of the Year as well, and many other categories. I think this was one of the strongest winners of the evening. And the Best Pop Duo Group Performance is the third win in general for Gaga. She won this before with Bradley Cooper on Shallow and with Ariana Grande on Rain on Me. And this is like her third win in general, which is kind of crazy to think that she just
and
did
this is her 14th Grammy overall.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it is. Also had like a speech accepting the award. She was in this beautiful black Vivienne Westwood gown. I just want to point out that at the end of the speech, am I tiring you?
Apparently.
Sorry.
No, I mean,
we're getting to Abracadabra. And at the end of the speech, she was saying something that I wanted to point out. She said, I just want to say tonight that trans people are not invisible. Trans people deserve love. The queer community deserves to be lifted up. Music is love. Yeah, for me personally, this was important to include, and it was really important to hear this from Gaga. There are a lot of voices, even within her community, saying that she is not talking about these kind of topics anymore. And I think if you know her, you know that she is, and that she's working behind the scenes on these things, like the Born This Way Foundation and everything. And she will always speak up for these kind of topics. But I just wanted to include it into this news because I think it's very important and it's an important statement. What do you think?
Yeah, well, especially, as someone living in this hellhole right now, it's good to hear that some people, are okay with me still having rights as we go into 2025. So that's always nice to hear. Right after the Abracadabra dropped, I stopped watching the Grammys to just listen to Abracadabra over and over.
How long did you have to wait for Abracadabra to be released?
The commercial was like at 23:50, 23:51. So we had like 10 minutes and she had a tweet. It was like, it's coming in 15 minutes and blah, 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 after the commercial ended. And I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here. But.
True. But I just wanted to know because I didn't watch the Grammys, but I saw like the most interesting bits. Yeah, I was asleep.
I only had to stay up until 3:30 in the morning.
That's true.
All those fans, in Germany and other countries in Europe were to stay up until 9:30 in the morning to get, da 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 da. It's like, oh God, I would murder someone. Listen to the words I say. Oh, baby.
Oh, the baby, I love you, baby. Sounds like that would be a good reason for murder. But actually, the highlight for me from the Grammys, or from what I've seen from the clips afterwards, is Gaga's interaction with Michael. He's like so visible an introvert, and he's so uncomfortable at these award shows, and it is so funny to me to see him in this situation. There's this one video where Gaga is dancing to Charlie XCX, and she's like dancing with Bruno, and she's like really escalating while Michael is just sitting in his chair like, can we go home now?
It's like the Candy Muse meme.
Yeah.
VIP.
Sitting alone in the VIP.
He did seem, I will say, vaguely amused.
Of course,
by everyone. But in the way that's like, I could have just watched this on TV.
I love them both. I love them both, seeing them together.
I'm not saying that to blast him or anything. I find him incredibly relatable. I mean, that's why I'm bringing it up and why we're bringing it up because I think both of us are introverts. We find him very relatable.
Yeah,
Like,
agree,
it's like,
agree.
are we ready to talk about the main course of the
Yes,
evening?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for
All
this.
right. All right. So during the Grammys, a lot of the people on the House of Delulu circle were watching and waiting. And then, about a little more than halfway through the show, there is a commercial for MasterCard. And the commercial is the entire music video for Abracadabra. And then, the song goes up on streaming platforms, on YouTube, and the song is released, right? And we kind of knew this might be coming because the magazine Variety reported on January 27th that the singer will debut the third single and accompanying music video from Mayhem on February 2nd, airing during a commercial break at the 2025 Grammy Awards. So we knew that that might be happening. Furthermore, a couple of people saw that MasterCard followed Lady Gaga on social media, so we were kind of anticipating and waiting, and then it dropped. It dropped. Finally, the song that we had heard, was a 6 second snippet in low quality from a sunroof in Paris, at 1 in the morning, all the way up until now.
So I've two things to say. First and foremost, this was like the song that we both said in our last episode we are like most excited to hear. Like,
Mhm.
how exciting is it that one episode later we can talk about this song, actually? The second thought I had is like, I heard that like these commercial breaks in between like the Grammys are very, very expensive. So I
Mm.
have no idea how much MasterCard has paid for Gaga to put a full on 3 to 4 minute video as a commercial. They really put money in this. Yeah.
They did.
So, what are your initial thoughts to the song and music video?
Like, this was the first time, I think in a very long time, I've seen a Gaga music video and song come together all at once. And that was my first experience. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
I totally get everything you say, apart from I woke up and I had seen, okay, she released the music video. I saw the thumbnail and I was thinking, I would love to separate the song and the music video for me personally, because I just was so excited for the song itself that I was like, I want to digest everything by time. And I mean, we've talked about it. You've seen my reaction. I actually cried. I got emotional because there was so much nostalgia in seeing this video and hearing the sound. To be honest, for me personally, this is her best song since Bad Romance. Like, her best music video. It's daring. It's what made me fall in love with Gaga in the first place. And it's sonically very brave. Like, it's nothing that you've heard before. That's what I love about it.
I mean, I think I would need to sit with the song longer for
Mm-hmm.
me to be able to rank it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, you can immediately tell like she was going back to, like the roots of, the kind of music that really
Yeah.
propelled her into popularity, the aesthetics that brought her into popularity. I think the biggest part for me was something that I share with a lot of other people who saw it, which is that it transported us back to our late teenage years or our early 20s,
Yeah.
and it brought us back to an era.
This is not only like a single release, like, of course, she's doing great streaming numbers and this will be successful, I'm pretty sure. But apart from that, I think this is just actually very artistic. The structure of the song, the music video itself, this is like top tier Gaga content.
And I remember just laying in bed watching the music video, as it was airing on television, just like,
All right, should we like analyze the song and dive into the lyrics?
yeah, let's do it.
Amazing.
Yeah, of course.
So the song starts with the words that we have already heard from the kind of teaser we got in 2024,
Mhm.
which is Abracadabra a lot of times. And
Yep.
I have talked in my Pop Explained video about the alleged origin, Abracadabra's roots could go back to the 3rd century AD. It is believed to originate from the ancient Aramaic language spoken in Mesopotamia, which is Abracadabra, which is translates to "I create as I speak."
There's no like real consensus, scholarly speaking, as
Yeah,
to like where it actually comes from. Like
yeah,
that's what you said is like conjecture. Like it
yeah.
could come
That's
from
one theory.
Aramaic, it could
Yeah,
come from Hebrew, it could come from like the
it could
Greek
also come
alphabet, because
from. There's like this word abraxas, like in Latin,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
has like alpha, beta, gamma, which is like from Greek origin. So there are a lot
yeah.
of theories where this word could actually come from. It was also known in the Middle Ages as like this kind of protective spell to cure diseases from people in the Middle Ages. Um, for example, people were having like fevers and diseases, like deathly illnesses they could die from. So, as a protective spell, they kind of got amulets or just the saying of the word to protect them.
There is one cool thing in that the second, or I guess the fourth abracadabra, she doesn't just sing abracadabra, she says abracadabra, like her voice, like,
Yeah,
flutters as
yeah,
she does it, which I think is very cool.
yeah, it's really cool. Her voice is actually an instrument and she's using it for all of her songs.
So the first verse is pay the toll to the angels, drawing circles in the clouds. Keep your mind on the distance when the devil turns around.
I instantly thought about like vultures. Like I had this metaphorical
Mm,
image like of vultures circling over someone that's like in a desert or in a lost place, kind of close to death. And Gaga's like keep your mind on the distance when the devil turns around seems like keep focus on where you want to go. Like keep your mind on the
yeah.
distance. Looking for refuge, like looking for where you want to go, even if it seems hopeless, like even when the devil
Mm.
turns around. So this is my take on it. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I suppose I have a slightly different interpretation because, as I said, first experience with the song was the music video. So the
Mm,
two are like linked for me,
mm-hmm,
right? And we're not talking about the music video quite yet, but in general, I interpreted the song to be about how pressure she faced against herself trying to write a song that would live up to her fans' expectations of a dark pop bop that she used to make. I'm very similar to you in those last two lines, in that I think keep your mind on the distance when the devil turns around, and keep focused
mm-hmm,
and don't listen to like the inner demons, when they
mm,
appear. Paying the toll to the angels, I interpreted that to be like, I'm thankful to my fans, essentially, because they're the ones who
mm,
are dancing to this song. They're the ones, imbuing it with further meaning and passing it on and cementing my own legacy and imbuing my art with further meaning than I could ever have imagined. So it's almost like, well, I thank you for being fans. I thank you for existing. Thank you, but, there's still
mm.
this pressure.
Maybe it's also kind of saying if you want to stay away from evil, you should go towards the light. There are kind of similar references throughout the song for this. So the next part goes, hold me in your heart tonight, in the magic of the dark moonlight, save me from this empty fight in the game of life.
My original interpretation of the song being about her pressure to write something for her fans. I'm glad that you still listen to me and you appreciate me. You hold me in your heart tonight, while you're dancing, while you're enjoying, my music. I appreciate the fact that you're there to give my life meaning as fans. Like you're appreciating my dark work and my art, and thank you for as for me as an artist being there to save me from the empty fight of creating without purpose. In this funny game we call being alive.
For me, it is like about like Gaga is talking about the obstacles also in life in
Mm,
general. To quote from the Elle interview from February 3rd, where she's talking in depth about what abracadabra really means. There's this one line that kind of works perfectly, where she's saying, the song is about facing the challenge of life and the challenge of the night and finding the magic in it all. When you have to face the world, the people around you, your life, your unique circumstances, when you feel challenged with really showing everybody who you are. Like, these lines in particular could reflect what the song's about. I love the language that she uses throughout this song. And the imagery she uses. It's like kind of going into this direction of being very religious, but also not so on the nose as maybe some Born This Way tracks were, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, like that's quite on the nose.
Yeah. I don't think it gets more on the nose than that.
Yeah. I guess the pre-chorus is like a poem said by a lady in red. You hear the last few words of your life. With a haunting dance, now you're both in a trance. It's time to cast your spell on the night.
I think, first of all, this is my favorite line out of the whole song. The meaning behind it is really interesting. Like, when I listened to the song at first, I was like, who's Lady in Red? Is it like referencing the music video, or is it something else? Lady in Red is like a type of female ghost, mostly like a jilted lover, and very common in like ghost stories around the world. But I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No, I'm not a ghostologist, unfortunately.
No.
I interpreted the pre-chorus. The fans are saying like, okay, where is the music that you used to make? Right? Like, you're running out of time. Dance or die, lady. Like, come on. Right? So it could be a jilted lover, like the fans are now no longer in love with her because she isn't releasing the music they want. It could be the fact that her inner demon in the music video was literally dressed in red. There's a couple of ways that it could all go. Now that I'm not doing it through a dark lens, you're not in love with me anymore. And so now it's time for me to somehow cast my spell in the night, like refine that lost magic somehow.
That's an interesting take. Because for me personally, I thought about, she has like mental health problems. And I thought that this could be about maybe referencing a down point in her life of being close to death. Of course, the angel circling, and also the line, like, you hear the last few words of your life.
The last few words of your life, like the way I interpreted it was like the last few words of your career, right? As Gaga, as my original thought was not what it actually is, considering she's actually come out and said that it's more in line with what you're saying.
Maybe your take is more on like her talking about fame rather than her life. I think this is maybe the difference.
And I think that they're, of course, for her, they have to be entwined, right? Because her life now is a famous life.
Yeah.
So
the chorus is called Abracadabra, ama una na, Abracadabra, morta ugaga, Abracadabra, abra una na. In her tongue, she said, death or love tonight. Me, I instantly thought of the words amor and morta. It's like, like it stems from, I think it was Latin. I think you wrote it's Portuguese, but I think like it's from this kind of family. Maybe you can educate us.
I could. So Latin is an italic language. It's a sub-branch of the Indo-European language family. So Portuguese is also an italic language. French, Spanish, Italian, Neapolitan, Romansh, Romanian, and all modern italic languages are descendants of Vulgar Latin. Now, in the lyrics to the song, the words amor and morta are Portuguese. I'm going to go like a little silly, like this is not seriously what I thought, but I just think it's a funny coincidence. The fact that it's in Portuguese makes me think that it's specifically her Brazilian fans who are.
I actually wanted to ask you that. Like, I thought about, like, Copacabana beach performance is not confirmed yet, but I mean, everybody knows that because, like, I think the Major even tweeted about it. But anyway, I actually thought about this could be like a hint towards her Brazilian fans. Brazil, I'm no longer devastated. Gaga has used different languages in the past. Like, she has used German, she has used French. It's not so far-fetched that she's, like, using this kind of language. Amor is love, morta is death, which is, like, what she says in the last line, death or love tonight. There's so much she's saying with these words, like, speaking in her tongue is kind of a reference of speaking in tongues, which has also this religious imagery of speaking through the devil or demons or angels, I don't know what. I think what's really cool and interesting is that this whole structure of the chorus is reminiscent of like songs like Judas or Bad Romance, where it's like Gaga, ooh Gaga, what she's known for. And if you like put the word amor reverse, it's Roma.
Yeah.
I think it's just coincidence, but it's kind of cute that
It's funny. It's funny.
Works.
Yeah.
Maybe. We can also quickly talk about the post-chorus, which is like a lot of Abracadabra, and then she just says, "Feel the beat under your feet, the floor's on fire."
I mean, floor's on fire, hell, death, devil.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best part of the song to me.
Yeah, it is for me.
But I also think she kind of like unintentionally trained her fans to enjoy like that industrial snippet. Because that's all we heard for like 7 months. And so the parts of the song that sound like that are the parts we're going to like the most, because it's what we, fed ourselves on and hyped ourselves up to.
It's really interesting because this sound, like this part of the song, it really stands out among the rest of the song. And I had like a different take on it. I was like, as we know, Gaga likes to change songs as she kind of teases them. I just think of the iTunes Festival of Art Pop back in London, where she like switched up manicure, sex dreams, and I thought maybe Gaga was like changing the song and everything. She was like, well, I played the snippet already, so maybe I just have to leave it like it is. Because my fans will get mad if I change it again. Damn.
Yeah. What I thought was funny is in the music video, which we haven't really gotten to yet. But in the music video, it starts low quality for like the 6 seconds that we heard, and then it goes into normal quality. Like, oh well, this is how you heard it, so this is what you're gonna get. Oh.
So the second verse is, choose the road on the west side, as the dust flies, watch it burn. Don't waste time on a feeling, use your passion, no return.
And so the first 2 lines, choose the road on the west side, as the dust flies, watch it burn, I wasn't quite so sure about. Like, those are definitely metaphorical. I mean, she definitely moved from like New York to Los Angeles, so that's the west side of America.
Yeah. I thought about that immediately.
Yeah, so choosing the road on the west side means, like, choose fame and success by going to Hollywood. But as the dust flies, watch it burn. I mean, I'm just thinking now that could refer to money. Like, you're making all this money, but watch it all away because it's not what's important.
Hearing Road on the West Side, I also thought about how Gaga's first part of her career was centered around New York and the East Coast. And as she kind of got more and more struggles with her mental health and with her career and life in general, she moved to the West Coast in LA and kind of took care of herself. So I read into like these lines that choose the road on the west side, as the dust flies, watch it burn, is kind of like, okay, at least I saved myself from burning in this hell. I got away from it as soon as I could because it was good for me. And another interesting part that references the first verse, the west side has many positive biblical connotations, being closer to God. Like, going west symbolizes moving toward God. Going east symbolizes going away from God. And there's actually in Genesis, and yes, I will quote the Bible, in Genesis 3:24, it kind of says like, the gate on the Garden of Eden was on the east side. So what is the next track on the album?
Garden of Eden.
Yes. So I kind of think that this choose the road on the west side is also biblically, religiously speaking, about choose the way towards God instead of away from him. And we have to wait and see which road she chooses in Garden of Eden. So the next line, which is allegedly the bridge, is Phantom of the dance floor, come to me, sing for me a sinful melody.
Well, keeping with my weird, kind of running gag of the episode, I interpreted this as like Gaga now turning to her inner artistic, self. I mean, like, please give me the dark song, right? So Phantom of the Dance Floor, come to me, sing for me a sinful melody so I can put out a song that these gays will like. That's, that's how I interpreted it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I thought immediately about the Phantom of the Opera, and I read into it as I was making all these theories what this album could be about. Gaga had like all these hints towards like these novels and European culture from the 18th century. Like there's this novel by Gaston Leroy. It's called Phantom of the Opera. It was released in 1911, and it has been adapted as a movie, as a musical. Like I think a lot of people know it. It therefore seems fitting, like for Gaga to reference it, also while she continues to go into like these opera vocals, and she's kind of using this genre to it, but also like the main character as she's talking to the Phantom, and somebody asks who she's talking to, she says, "I'm speaking to the angel of music," which kind of makes sense to what you just said. Like, Phantom of the Dance Floor, come to me and give me this melody. But I think it kind of makes sense, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't have to be right. We want to talk about the song musically.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think the first thing that a lot of people on the Discord server noticed was the acid bass synth. That's there in the verses. It's very 90s, very 90s alternative trance sort of vibes. It adds something to the song that makes it sound very unique compared to a lot of the songs going on right now in the pop sphere. It's a great choice. The writing credits for the song credit a lot of the people in Susie and the Banshees, I think, which is a alternative 90s band. The pre-chorus, like a poem said by a lady in red, like that part is like a slowed down, loose interpretation of a melody from their song Spellbound. And if you go on whosampled.com, Abracadabra sampling Spellbound is already there. So I think it's Gaga being, normally very generous, with album writing and producing credit.
Yeah. I heard the rumor before the song dropped, but I was not sure if there's anything behind it. As you said, this is like such a unique sound, and that's what I thought as I heard the sample like nearly 1 year ago. What really surprised me were like these strings at the end of the song. Gaga makes it kind of work. Like it shouldn't work and it shouldn't sound good, but it's actually very fitting, and it's very interesting how these sounds work together. Gave me like flashbacks to songs like Government Hooker, where she included these opera sounds to like more electronic sounds. Also Bad Romance, that had like these techno sound bites. I thought this song is way more experimental than Disease.
I think, like I mentioned before, like all of us had just played that snippet over and over and over until we got this idea in our heads of what the song would be. So when I heard the actual song, there in my bed, I mean, I was surprised by how pop it was, because I think only hearing that industrial bit for 7 months made me think the song would be more like Heavy Metal Lover, like super grimy bass, heavy in your face the entire way through. And it very much was not that. But it's still, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad song because of that. I'm just saying it was different. Like right when the snippet ended and the first verse began, I was like, oh, okay. Right.
Interesting that you say that, because for me, I fell in love with the verse. I thought this is such a good continuation from the Abracadabra part. I was kind of, underwhelmed would be the wrong word, but I was kind of surprised of the chorus. Like, it had like this ABBA Europop chorus to it, which I did not expect from like this dark beat sound from the post-chorus.
I was about to say, is the German complaining about Europop?
Not really, because I love it. But at first listen, I was like, I'm not sure if I like this chorus. And now, 1 day later, after listening to the song, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's really catchy. And it has to stand out from the rest. And I think that's what's so interesting about the structure of the song. It has like so many parts that kind of should not fit. I hate to compare it to like other songs of Gaga, but if you compare it to like Bad Romance, like the post-chorus part is not as bright as like the chorus itself. It's more like Scheiße, maybe, the song
Right, yeah.
that has like this dark post-chorus part and this brighter chorus before it. And I think it's just a song that you have, like, I personally had to adapt to like
Yeah, no.
this difference of it.
Yeah, I remember listening to Scheisse for the first time, like the actual song that was all Born This Way, as opposed to the DJ White Shadow Mugler remix that came out first. And I remember hearing the chorus. I was like, that's it? What? And now, it's probably my favorite Gaga song behind Teeth. I get where you're coming from, essentially, is the point.
Scheiße is also one of my favorite songs, obviously, but like not because she's speaking German, but because I just.
It's not German.
Yeah, it's not German. I just love the sound of it. Teeth is your favorite song of Gaga?
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know what to think about that.
Are we not friends anymore because I like Teeth?
No, I'm very tolerant, like this, but I'm I'm just
I just don't
shocked,
see why
like,
they have to do it in my face all the time. Too busy still listening to Satellite by Lena to appreciate polka.
This is actually not a bad song. Like, I was surprised that we won this one,
I mean,
but
it's not a bad song, but at least in the Eurovision performance, her accent is so bad.
I mean, I get a lot of comments all the time under my YouTube videos. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm German, and you can hear that it's not my native language. Don't come for Lena. Okay, let's get into the music video, because we opened the box of Pandora of Eurovision Song Contest.
Let's do the video, but it would be very insulting, I think.
Let's do the music video reaction, please. So yeah, I think the first thing that came to my mind watching the music video is like this mayhem character that Gaga mentioned in the Elle interview in the Disease music video. Now it's dressed in red.
Category is dance or die.
That was really iconic, to be honest. And I think it kind of resembles like the line in the chorus of Love or Death. In the Elle interview from February 3rd. So Gaga mentions that, ask about the lady in red. Gaga continues, the lady in red is all of you that puts you to the test. Your internal monologue, can you do it? Are you good enough? In a lot of ways, the song is about dealing with that challenge to yourself, and very often the world around us can reflect it back to us as well. I wanted to explore the question, what does it feel like to thrive and not just be surviving all the time? Also very interesting is, there's this dance battle that's led by the light and the dark sides of. We ultimately decided that the video should be Mayhem the character, the lady in red. It's her club and it's her night. You can either dance or it's over. We decided that we wanted the video to be about being up for the challenge. So Gaga explains all of this in these Elle interview segments that I just quoted. Like, she's referencing the ballroom scene. She is, of course, Gaga has a lot of references from drag in general and from queer culture. So it's like an homage to this as well, I feel like. And it's interesting because for Chromatica, Gaga was talking about that dancing is healing and it heals, and we had like this theory that disease at the end, when she's dancing, the walls open up, when she doesn't, the walls close on her. So it seems like this theme, dance or die, is like in this music video, it's like insisted even more than in Disease.
Yeah, and I think those opening words were really what implanted the seed in my mind, behind the approach that I essentially took for the entire rest of the song, right? Either dance, right? Give us dance music, or die.
Yeah.
We don't want you, go away. And, she's in red and she's overlooking, all of these other people and judging them and watching them, right? It's this mayhem in this, at least in my interpretation, is like her self-criticism towards, like not being able to give people what she thinks they might want. And so she's on this pedestal of her past work, dressed in this dark outfit, watching Gaga trying to fight against the demons of trying to keep up with her former songs that people appreciate more than her more recent work.
So my thought about it was that, as in the Disease music video, this is like mayhem represents like all these inner demons and her trauma and all these, maybe this inner saboteur of hers, like this voice inside her that's not that pleasant, is I think what she said in the Rolling Stone interview. That is what this character in this red latex outfit is representing. I think that mayhem is always there. It seems like she accepted the fact that this darkness in her and the saboteur in her is always there. That's my interpretation from it. And that she accepts that she has to deal with it. I think the most obvious reference, and Gaga also mentioned it in the Elle interview, is that the lady in red that we talked about in the lyrics is represented by mayhem in the music video.
And it's interesting that mayhem, I guess, in Disease and in Abracadabra is represented as needing to use a cane to walk. And it's like a general witchy sort of thing. But it also made me think a little bit about her mobility issues, after the Born This Way ball.
I thought so too. Yes.
Hip, and how, when she broke her hip, when she got that labral tear, she couldn't dance anymore and she wasn't sure if she ever would again. And like the dancing that she does as mayhem is like kind of awkward and sort of, right? So it's almost, like this demon of, can I even dance?
I totally agree. I had the same thoughts. It would make sense because I think this mayhem persona is maybe something that Gaga uses to put all her negative thoughts and all her negativity in her life on this persona. And then she can live like her more positive and best life. And to make this experience that's kind of like traumatic and horrible that it happened to her, it makes sense that she also portrays this kind of era in this kind of way.
And it's something that I think, even if I don't go into detail about the entire music video, because who has the time to listen to me speak even more? But what I noticed was in the music video specifically, there is a scene there that is not in the song, where it's everyone crowding around her and chanting the chorus lyrics at her while she just stands there and screams. Right before that, for like a couple of seconds, during like the operatic vocals and everything, she's, taken out of a door by, her dancers, and she's like heaven looking and blah, blah, blah. And they kind of look like bird wings almost. Like there's two things coming off of them. So it's like the fans or the dancers are giving her wings. I should credit my friend from the server. His username is Ultimisha, and he's the one who noticed that and let me know. So, salut, Ultimisha, merci on m'avoir dit cela. And then all of a sudden they go away, they scatter. And when they scatter and she has to move off frame to move into the next scene, which is the music video exclusive scene, the Gaga in white hobbles. Not mayhem, but normal Gaga hobbles. So it's almost like saying like, well, without you, all I'm left with is the mayhem character. All I'm left with is this pain. Right? If you leave me, if I don't have your support, if you leave me to do my art alone, then I'm that mayhem character. I hobble. I have trouble walking. I have trouble being my full self. And I just hear like, and then I'm surrounded by these echoes in my head of all you people want. It just makes her scream out of anxiety and terror. I basically interpreted the dancers in white as stand-ins for fans. Essentially, fans are with her in the very beginning when they all start to dance, but Gaga herself doesn't. Mayhem looks down from above, like, "Really? Are you not going to dance? Do you want to die?" And Gaga just stares back at her. And then when she does start to dance during the first verse, she does, but she's like her wedding gown sort of coat thing is being held up by other people, or she's holding on to other people, or other people are holding her. And over the course of the music video, her dancing gets more independent.
I would also like to quote Gaga again from the Elle interview, as she's saying, ultimately, I wanted the song to be about resilience in a way the song Disease was not. With this song, I wanted to crack open what it means to persevere and explore the metaphor of perseverance on the dance floor, because the dance floor has always been a place where I try to improve myself as a human being. So, for me personally, maybe because her first verse and first line was about angels, I always thought that these white dancers could represent kind of the angels and like the devil with the red dress. I mean, it's very on the nose, but
Yeah.
it kind of could resemble that. And later on, we have this Red Mayhem character with these black dressed dancers with the hats on, which kind of could resemble, okay, the darkness gets on the dance floor as well. They have like this dance battle. In the second post chorus, we have like this camera switch at the end where it switches between like this red Gaga and this white Gaga, which could kind of resemble this inner fight she has.
Yes.
Of all
Yes,
these
absolutely.
themes. But what I like to go through is like that there are a lot of references in the music video towards her older work. I thought immediately at the beginning, as the scene starts, I heard like this soundbite that kind of reminded me of the Fame perfume commercial that she did with Stephen Klein, and as well as the hat and the latex cape. There was this magnetic fluid in the video of the Fame commercial, which kind of resembled this hat. And she also had like this black latex outfit that kind of was similar to what she had. So I thought this might be a nod to the Bondeswehr era. Further on, I think as Gaga starts dancing in this white pleather cat suit, and she has like this Baroque Elizabethan collar on, it totally reminded me of Bad Romance. And she was watching over these dancers, gave me flashbacks to Alejandro. The paired dancing as well gave me flashbacks to Alejandro. The first chorus of the dance scene, it was, for me, reminiscent of the GOY music video. Like, these white dresses, a lot of dancers putting these
blonde hair.
choreos there. I also thought immediately about the Chromatica ball. Like, these dancers, like, it felt like an opera or like a ballet show that I watched. And Gaga being like above everyone else, watching everybody. And there's this one scene at the Chromatica Ball where she's singing Just Dance and her dancers are like doing these movements towards her, which are very similar to the movements at the end of the music video, where they kind of represent her breathing or bringing life to her again. That's what I kind of read into it. Yeah. The interesting fact from the interview as well is like that the dancers' clothes are actually from deadstock fabric or pieces from Gaga's archive. So it is also like a reinterpretation of her old costumes.
But the white catsuit and like the red mayhem character have outfits that look like you can almost like see the stitching. I think is like what the effect is. Very obvious, pattern.
They're fragmented.
Right on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, the one on the white Gaga looks like a cross, which, born this way reference.
I also thought that the latex outfit of like Mayhem, we call it like that, this red dress, it was holded by these kind of needles or what's the English
studs
word?
Or something,
studs or something, which was really cool. And I read in an interview that it was not easy to make, like that latex doesn't rip, but it's like a cool way of showing like something stitched together. There is a reason why Gaga chose this kind of fashion. And what I also would like to include as one of my last references, but I think I just want to include it because I find it really cool. In the final dance scene, Gaga wears like a white frayed bandage-inspired corset dress, and we had like bandage dresses in the Disease music video as well, so it's like a running theme. But there are hand-painted moth embellishments on, and she has like a silver cross necklace, which totally reminded me of two horror movies. I had like this idea, if you see like horror movies from the 80s, like Halloween, for example, or Freddie Mercury, these were like horror movies that I instantly thought of as I saw the Disease music video.
Freddie Mercury?
Oh. Freddy Krueger. I always get that.
There you go.
always. Mama,
just killed him.
I mean, of course, Freddy Krueger, not Freddie Mercury.
See, the gays are scary.
Maybe there's a homage to horror movies in the Disease music video. And I kind of saw similar themes throughout this one. They're like more modern horror movies. Do you know the movie Crimson Peak? Have you seen it?
I just was saying like Crimson Peak because Crimson P sounds like what you're saying. And if that's the case, you should see a doctor.
I could be your doctor, I can cure your Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak, and it's a gothic love horror movie from 2015. It was directed by Guillermo del Toro, which made like movies like Pan's Labyrinth or Mama, and he has like a reoccurring theme of moths. And you can see like these hand-painted moth embellishments on her dress. And I just thought of the Crimson Peak, which is settled like in the Victorian England. And the costumes of her are all white Victorian dresses. And the female protagonist is called Edith Cushing, and she falls in love and marries a Sir Thomas Sharp, and therefore lives in a mansion that's built on red clay called Crimson Peak. And Edith gets visited by, you guessed it, red ghosts. So these red ghosts are actually not evil. At first she reads them as evil, but they are just messengers, and they try to warn her that they are actually ex-wives of her husband, that he's kind of tried to killing her, and they try to save her from that. This was just my idea as I saw like the costumes and the whole vibe of the video, like the white and red colors. And another interesting horror movie from 2019 is Midsummer by Ari Aster. An American couple called Danny and Christian, they visit a Swedish village that celebrates Midsummer, and due to a thesis of his that he's writing about, they find themselves in like this cult that sacrifices human beings. As the relationship between the two fall apart more and more, Danny wants to leave and Christian begs her to stay. And at the end, Danny gets crowned the May Queen, while Christian gets burned alive. Like, it's really a great movie. You have to watch it if you haven't seen it. But the movie is like a metaphor for depicting how to get out of a toxic or unhealthy relationship. Kind of similar to Crimson Peak. And more than that, like the white bright costumes and the hair, it really resembled Gaga's outfit for me. Like, there's so many similarities to this movie. I know this is far-fetched and I'm maybe Delulu, but this is the images that came to my mind when I saw this music video. I'm not sure if Gaga is like into horror movies and if this has any connection, but for me it kind of makes sense that Gaga is on this horror movie gothic route.
Well, I mean, in Bad Romance, she called out several Hitchcock movies by name.
That's true.
Lyrics, right?
Yeah. Alright. What do you think the music video is in one word or one sentence?
One word or one sentence.
That's not even a word. Yeah, for me, to put it in one sentence, this is one of Gaga's most exciting releases since a long, long time, sonically as well as visually. And I'm so hyped for what Mayhem brings. I'm not sure if there will be more after this single release or if the album drops immediately after that, but for me, this is very promising what to expect from the album. Okay, so I think these are all the thoughts we have for now about the music video. I'm sure there will be more that we figure out over the next days and weeks, but this is our analysis of what happened the last week. Thank you so much, Carl, for joining me in this episode. I really love to talk with you always about everything Gaga. Where can people find you and write with you if they can't get enough of you?
Well, you can join the House of Delulu Discord server at the link posted in the description, because I don't use social media.
Yeah. I can just advise everyone to join the House of Delulu server on Discord. I just hope you're such as excited as we are about the Abracadabra release. So just let us know, what are your thoughts on Abracadabra? What is your favorite part of the song, of the music video? Comment below, and thanks for watching, and see you next time around. Bye bye.
Tschüss.